Alrighty, hello everybody, welcome, to Beyond Our Reason. Interesting drawing there. Pay no mind to it though, because we have a very fantastic game here on Star Watcher. One of the better 8v8 maps. Actually, one of my favorites. I really enjoy this map, but we have some even better players here to talk about. Starting off with Chisato on the warm colored team here. Gonna be the Armada commander in red with the crown on his head. Going for that vehicle start. Supported by Mr. Neza from Canada in the yellow, going for the aircraft plant start, as is, their spot. They are the aircraft controller. We do have on the other side of the team, Underscore here in the blue, playing Armada. Going to be leading the cool color team. Fantastic player from Turkey, 53 TS score. Supporting him is going to be Mr. Smiles in the green, playing Cortex, starting off with the bot lab. Fantastic. And I'm actually really interested in this start by Chisato with the vehicle plant. If you didn't know, if you haven't played Beyond Our Reason, it's a great game to get into it, but vehicles are a little bit of a slower start, economically wise, which also leads to you being a little bit behind for those frontline pushes. But if you're going to be doing vehicles, you might as well be going Armada for it. Armada vehicles are very strong, so I'm excited to see where that goes. So here on Star Watcher is a fantastic map, I've already said, but the mexes are going to be worth 1.9 normally, except we do have some 4.2 size mexes here in the middle, which hopefully will encourage our dear players to fight for the middle, although of course they were already going to do that, or we'd hope they would. But this game might actually be one of my favorite games of the entire year. Well, definitely for this year, maybe of all time, although, we'll have to see. I only discovered it today, but a ton of great things in this game happen. We have a lot of behemoths that actually make it to the front line. They put in work. It's really cool to see. So I'm excited for you guys to see that, so stick around. But besides the behemoths, we also see a LOLCannon, and actually how really good players shut those LOLCannons down, which again, I hope you are, sticking around to discover that with me. But besides that, we just have a really strong early game, strong middle game, lots of fun things happen, and we are going to be watching our top players through it all. But besides our top players, of course, our lesser known players will distinguish themselves as well. We do have a scout here from Control Map, going to be the air controller for the cool colored team flying around there. And yeah, getting that scout out early, I think is really nice, making sure that nothing funny's going on like 2 aircraft plants, or also discovering some air transports like this from Mr. Arcs. Well, it's actually from Neza, but it's going to be going to Arcs. And yeah, that does get spotted there. Now, if that affects any gameplay, I'd be interested to see. Nobody does mention it in chat, and it's not ping, but hey, at least one guy knows it's coming, right? We also have Mr. Prador going to be moving his commander in Cortex in the yellow, or wait, more of an ivory to the center, grabbing that really good mech start. Which I think is a smart move for sure. That mex is going to be given a lot of metal, worth 2 normal mexes, so definitely worth your time. Arc's doing the same thing. Nobody's going to be doing that on the cool colored side, which I think, is definitely to their detriment. But that early scout, it's good as well, right? So you take what you can get. Chisato doing the slow walk with his commander, actually airdropping a construction vehicle instead, which is an interesting move. It's always hard to tell. Okay, there we go. It does pick him up. It's always hard to tell, when you're starting out. You don't really know where the enemy is. Like, what if they're trying to do what you wanted to do, right? And then, you get left in the dust. They do it a little bit quicker than you. So then you don't want to airdrop your commander. All these sorts of mind games here in Beyond Our Reason. One of the best RTSs that's out right now. And for free, too, which I think is great. So some ticks out here. Going to be absolutely massacred. Nothing new there. They don't even manage to get a mex. Pretty rough for Dark Clone there. But we have a ton of scouts here from Underscore. Be interested to see how well they do. If my memory does recall, they managed to get a few mexes, but we'll wait and see. Taking out some mexes from Victor. Chisato start is also pretty interesting. We will see him drop a bot lab down there right up front, which means he's going to be starting with 2 bot labs, so he's extra production. And if he has the economy to upkeep that production, it's going to be very powerful for him and his team as well. Another mech's going down there for Underscore's ticks. Yeah, these guys have definitely gotten their worth. Even showing some rovers along the way, but looks like they will be taken out before they get that last mex. A little unfortunate, but they did go on quite the rampage there. Underscore having to deal with some harassment of his own. Mex almost going down there, but the Scissors deciding to focus on the commander instead. wasting a lot of energy there. 3 D guns for 3 units. Not the greatest value, but you don't really want to play around with units like those. If your commander goes down early, especially if you're leading your team, that's a huge morale hit, but it also affects the game quite significantly. Seeing as he's kind of soloing this south position at the start. Going to be going against Tom K and Victor the second. Or the second. Is that the 12th or the 8th? I think it's the 12th. My Roman numerals are a little spotty here. Crocs going in against Chizato's commander. Unfortunately, he is double teamed by Ace. Some tanks down here in the south, as well as that laser tower. His commander going down, but Chizato does not escape unscathed. Laser tower going down, as well as the mechs, and his commander being dropped to 8%. Rocket bots from Crocs going to be trying to get revenge, but definitely not going to be able to break through this wall of scouts and stouts. Doesn't that rhyme? That's very nice. I did that on purpose. Now clap. I'm Jeb Bush. Yeah, Chizato looks like he's going to be making it out of there. But that mech's going down for another time is a little funny here. Another tick rush from underscore there. Not going to be able to get anything done. Tom is set up in this forward position here, actually cutting underscore off, which is actually a reason I like this map, Star Watcher. It's similar to something like Comet Catcher, just by vibes. It kind of looks like a Martian planet sans the water. But in reality, it's not. Even though it was quite flat, these big outcroppings as well as the lakes do lend, some choke points to be made. And if we look at traversability here, I know all my buttons. It's not quite traversable for these bots here. You see on these bridges, you're only going to be able to go up certain pathways, and some pathways, like up here, aren't accessible at all unless you have aircraft. Aircraft? Yeah, there you go. I know how to say words. Don't laugh at me. In the north here, haven't seen too much going on here. Big rocket bot pushes from Skag and Caldra. So both bot players there, both Cortex bot players, that is. Arcs here with the Armada vehicles. Going to be running out of a little bit of energy there, which is not good for your stack defenses. Does grab up this electric turret here. Going to be forcing those rocket bots to move back. And some artillery, some shell shockers back there as well, which is another great counter to those rocket bots. Chizato's 4.2 max going down again. It's sad to see. It's actually kind of funny. I don't mind. But yeah, his commander just stuck there. There we go. He is moving out of the way of those rockets. Rockets actually take down commanders deceptively quickly. They're not the best tool for the job. But, what's the saying? If you're a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. And, the problem almost became a nail right there. We'll say that. But Chizato is going to be airlifted out of the way. Now, some anti-air there on that air transport. Oh, would have been delicious. But, of course, AA doesn't really get produced typically this early in the game. Although with some shurikens out from Neza, that might become the case there. So commander going down all the way up top here for Caldra. You hate to see it. 2 commanders down for the cool colored side already before the 8-minute mark. So and neither of those were self-destructs. Not looking too great for him. Shurikens out on the field as well from Neza, getting their value in. And there's no fighters to stop them. Well, there are, but they're getting taken out by the enemy fighters. And Neza also airdropping his commander into the forward position for Mr. Smiles. See if he's going to be able to get anything done. A couple of D-guns here could do a lot of damage. Cortex bot lab, 620 metal, nothing to laugh at. Also, if construction bot goes down as well, yeah, very nice. Neza does go down, but so does that bot lab there. There is no production in the back line for Mr. Smiles, so that's going to set him back just a little bit, having to make, just going with that advanced bot lab instead. Might as well. 8.5 minutes in, you kind of want that T2 up around the 10 or 11 minute mark. If you're front line on these, on these 8v8 maps. I know it's a little bit different. I was, on my last video, I got quite a few comments, not actually on YouTube, but on Reddit, about how quick people could get up T2, which I thought was really inspiring. Or not inspiring, but surprising just how quick they were able to get it up. Not sure, of course, how effective those strategies are. I don't cast games on Isthmus or Straits just because they're so, they're so overdone. And I know there's new strategies that come out all the time, and it's always fun to see the naval battles, but I can't do it, guys. Same thing with the worst map is the other one, Glitters. Good lord, I don't understand that map's appeal at all. I mean, I know it's super systematic and stuff like that, but at least with Supreme Isthmus and Straits and stuff like that, you do have the naval play, which is actually always super engaging. Anyways, enough about being negative. This game is sick. Rocketbot's up here for underscore. Going to be trying to pressure Tom K, but we'll see what he decides to do here. because it is quite surprising. At least for me, he does cloak his commander going in here. And you think, oh, maybe he's going for that D-gun or something like that. But no, it's actually something much, much different here. Greco also scouting up on the high on the high ground up there. Just inching his commander forward. He might have forgotten about it. There we go. He is finally moving the commander in. Going to be going for that self-destruct there. And Tom has no idea. And there we go. Commander self-destruct right there. Tom's commander is left at 30%. His stack defenses are almost all destroyed except for the Warden, which is actually probably the only thing you really, really needed to go down. But that Warden is going to be going down shortly because Tom's commander is exploding. Very nice, secondary push from the rocket bots there to secure the kill. Kind of like what happened up here with Crocs, except the rocket bots actually worked, right? So 2 commanders on the field there for the Cool Color team just to gobble up. But here comes Victor with the D-gun. Going to be destroying both of those. 2,500 metal down the drain for both teams, but that was probably going to be going to the Cool Color team, by Victor's estimation, which I think was probably the correct one. Little Worm going to be airdropped right onto the, front of the line here. So that's going to be 3 commanders on the front line for the mid position for the Warm Color team. If I say 4 again, I don't know what's going to happen. Something bad. I'm going to be cursed by a witch. Although, are all curses bad? Probably. Skag and Caldara also, holding quite well up here. Unfortunately, the Wolverines do get a little bit ambushed there. Skag not quite moving them out of the way, and only one making it out at 3% health there. Unfortunate. Quakers aren't the cheapest unit to produce ever. 170 metal there. They're also quite slow to come out, just in general there. So you really, really want them to get their value, and if they go down early like that, it's pretty sad. The Little Worm getting beaten up here. See if he makes it out of this. I believe he does. Trying to retreat behind the rattlesnake that's being built here by this T2 constructor bot, which I think is very, very smart play. Of course, T2 units normally are the star of the show, but T2 stack defense is also fantastic. And rattlesnake, if you're giving it the radar support that it needs, it does have a long, long range, almost 1,400 range there. And of course, the damage to back it up, right, which is the main draw. But normally the thing for stack defenses with those big artillery pieces, you want to use them to poke your enemy so that they attack you, right? So if your enemy has a weaker army, but you can't quite get them to attack you, maybe their units are faster, they have longer range, etc. Those are used to kind of poke your enemy to get them to attack you, but I don't think that's the problem here for the Cool Color team. They seem to be, pretty keen on attacking, and they definitely don't have the units to just sit back, although there are some Sheldons coming on the field now for 8D or Smiles. So maybe that rattlesnake, he had a bit of a premonition, right? Although not sure if it's much of a premonition. Sheldons are built every game if you're going Cortex bot, which seems to be a significant part of the meta for sure. These rocket bots, though, just T1 units for underscore, doing quite well for themselves. Absolutely destroying stack defense, pushing back Victor's commander, pushing back his rocket bots, or their rocket bots, because they don't have that many. And yeah, quite well for them. Chisato is going to be moving down here with Tangs and Januses. Should be clearing up those rocket bots if they don't get out of there. And they're not looking like they're planning to. So that might be the end of underscore's push there. But he accomplished a lot, right? A commander down, stack defense destroyed, and you have a much stronger position for your forward bot lab. So I think he did, I think they did a good job there. Definitely supporting that play. This water also is traversable. I didn't even mention that. So Sheldon's from Smiles here, going to be just pushing through. Commander being going down here in the center. And whose was that? Oh, that was underscore's commander. Unfortunate for the second time there. Although I believe he does. Oh, no. That one was gifted by Greco. I was kind of trying to figure out what was going on there, because obviously those commander wrecks were destroyed. So no revives or anything like that. And how's this rattlesnake doing? After hyping it up, it's at 5 kills. It's doing its best, right? I think the more important thing is the damage that it's getting. And again, right, the brutes are coming in now that they're being harassed by this rattlesnake. Although, how much radar do they actually have? Yeah, it's definitely not at quite full range, but it's... No, it is a full range. Yeah, it is radar. Okay. Another commander going down in the center here, right by underscore's corpse. Believe that was Victor. So, again, on the south side, 2 commanders sitting side by side. Although there is not a nearby commander to either sweep them up or to degun them. So I guess that's a good thing for whoever ends up grabbing those wrecks. In the north here, Skag and Caldara, they've been putting up a good fight, but it's not been quite enough. Persecutor and a Rattlesnake both up here. But this Rattlesnake, oh, this position is so good. And it also has more kills. Persecutor's not looking good, friends. The counter battery is not going well. And this hill is actually protecting the Rattlesnake from those direct hits. Might be getting a little bit of collateral in, but nothing crazy. Persecutor is shut down there from Skag. Going to be reclaimed. From Skag. I was going to say by Skag, but that one makes sense. But I didn't say that. So why am I worried about it? I hope you understand. More Sheldons here from Smiles, taking control of the lake, helping underscore out after those commander deaths, and a couple res bots over here going to be reclaiming the medal from those as well. So fantastic plays. I wish I was seeing a little bit more res bots, but there isn't actually a ton of metal on the field. It's actually mostly the south side and the north side. The middle here, pretty free of metal, whether that's because of res bots or because of, Rex just being outright destroyed. Who's to say? I think it is the latter, in my opinion. Don't really see any res bots around. Maybe a couple here and there. T2 Advanced Vehicle Plant for Praetor, for the Cortex Commander. Going to be coming up here. Excited to see what units are going to be coming out of those. Hopefully some big Czars, Those are always fun to see on the battlefield. Big AoE, big damage. Game-changing unit. And they're in T2, right? My favorite part of any game is, of course, the T2 fights. A lot of shurikens back here for Neza. Of course, they're very, very good for stopping pushes, which makes me wonder why they're not being used here. There isn't actually any AA for the Cool Color team down here, so those shurikens can be used to good effect, but maybe there's just nothing to capitalize upon that, EMP stun with. Also, fighters out here from control map, probably maybe the bigger reason. And now those fighters getting quite a few kills, although they are invading enemy airspace, so you are going to be getting that, unfriendly AA down on the ground. But actually, there's just more fighters for Neza, so those shurikens are secured, and they are going to be going in now. Underscore and Smiles backing up just a little bit. Not able to escape the shurikens, though. Super, super fast unit. And, again, there's not too much to capitalize upon, all this stuff being stunned. There's also not a lot to stop it. A couple pistols being built here by the constructors and the commander, which are going to be, helping to destroy the shurikens. So, good play there. The bad play was the bot lab up here from Smiles. A little bit presumptuous, although it's not gone down yet, but it is just a matter of time, I do believe. Well, I say this. Yeah, there we go. Okay. I couldn't be proven wrong, right? Not like I already know what happens or anything. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. Of course I don't know. Don't even suggest something like that. 25 brutes rolling down the middle from Crocs here, right against Chizado's. Very, very small army here. So, I mean, they're going to be putting in quite a lot of work. Going for those T2 mexes that are coming up now at the 17-minute mark. Well, coming up now on the front line, that is. Shuriken's thinking about going in, but the fighters do scare them off. Control map. You know what? Even though he had the smaller air force, he did rebuild a little bit. Only get shot down once again. And those shurikens, full force against those brutes. I mean, that's the only thing that stopped that brute push from Crocs. Crocs might have been wary about diving too deep anyways. The middle for the Cool Color team is looking a little bit thin. Not a lot of defenses. No army for ice on skates, really. So yeah, definitely actually putting some of your weaker players on the front line. In such a central position. Not my preferred play, but they got to be somewhere. And honestly, I'd say they're pulling their weight. They haven't been invaded, and they're putting good pressure on, especially Crocs. So fantastic. And look how similar those two flags are. One is the Philippines. I don't know what the other is. I can't say. I am sorry. I'm not international. I am an American. You can't expect me to know these things. Avis is going up for Greco. Assuming we already have some up down here as well. Ooh, actually the first Aphis going up for Chizado right now. A little bit slow there. Of course, Chizado is on the front line. And Greco is on the back line, right? So no Aphis is going up for underscore there. Yeah, it's always interesting. The dichotomy between do you want to put your best players on the front line, or rather, do they want to be in the front line, or should they be in the back line? Personally, I think the better players should just be in the back line. I think your front line can suffer for the first few minutes before, those back line players start rolling out some good T2 units, stuff like that. And I think back line, if the game goes late, it does end up being more impactful, right? But I think also I'm a little bit biased, right? I'm not going to cast games that end at the 12-minute mark because the best players were on the front line and, sniped a bot lab or two and ended the game, right? Because those just aren't very interesting. Well, they're pretty interesting, but they don't do numbers, and I'm not interested in crafting a story for something that lasts like 10 minutes, right? That's just personal preference. So what do you think? let me know. Obviously, I have a lot of experience, but I'm not that good. What does that say about me, huh? Should I put that on my resume? I'm looking for new jobs. Yeah, I have a lot of experience, but I've never been that good. Next question. Ghost here for Victor, trying to get something done. Hopefully it doesn't accidentally reveal themselves by getting too close, but whether they're just scouting or if they're gonna, they are gonna detonate there. Little EMP action on these hounds, which actually had a really, really good spot for underscore there, providing some nice covering fire from the Rage. But yeah, they didn't have as many hounds as Victor, and now they're out of commission, so that's pretty rough. Your T2 units going down. It's never a good sight, especially when you don't really have you don't have any T2 production. That must be all gifted then, or they just reclaim their T2 lab. Skag actually coming back here on the north side, as well as control map. Quite a lot of fighters out in the sky, so I think that's pretty impressive that they're able to claw back like that, especially they only have one aircraft factory as opposed to the 3 aircraft factories for Neza. So you know what, they're doing good, but looks like we're actually seeing some bombers being produced by Neza, which does account for the fighter discrepancy, right? Obviously you have to both match your enemy's fighters plus some and make bombers for a successful bombing run, so that's always a little bit of a task there, as well as the shurikens that have been produced as well. Quite a lot of shurikens out there. Not gonna count them. Don't do math on recording, right? That's the saying. Fiends out here for Smiles. Looks like they have abandoned their Sheldon strats. A couple Sheldons still lying around, but nothing huge. Yeah, interesting. Again, another dichotomy. You go Fiends and, you know, be up close and aggressive, but also able to defend because you have fast units, or do you go Sheldons and kind of just bomb it out, right? Sit back with your artillery, stuff like that. I think the play is whatever you want to do, whatever your heart desires. I always enjoy seeing those Fiend plays. They're always daring, dashing. They make for good moments. Sheldons, they're good as well, though, of course. And yeah, these hounds, although some did go down due to Victor's shenanigans with the spy bot, they're still sitting up here. They got the superior range, and I imagine they also have radar, although there's a radar bot here. So both players should have adequate radar. But look, because of the ticks coming in, the hounds are focusing the trash unit instead of the good one. Juno missiles coming in here. Not going to be able to, well, they're going to get nothing. Yeah, odd Juno missile back there. I don't know what they're gunning for. Well, I mean, normally it's the scouts, I guess, right? Yeah, that is why you have to end up producing pawns instead. Pawns and grunts as your kind of scouting trash unit instead of those ticks and rovers. But yeah, Juno's always fun. You used to see a lot of those being produced, but it's less popular now than it used to be. Back in my day, you wouldn't believe the amount of green missiles I saw flying through the air in the old Martian War. Oh, being just getting absolutely lasered there. At a bit of a stalemate here. You might call it the Cold War, even though, you know, people are still firing. It's in a friendly manner, right? And I'm sure, you know, these are just proxies. I always wonder. I know there isn't any lore, but it would always be kind of cool if there was. The lore between the factions. Although, again, it wouldn't make sense because Armada and Cortex fights together all the time. So maybe they're different, like, bot races. Who knows? Or maybe they develop, like, independently of each other, right? You might have Armadas from Earth because they're the best, and, you know, Cortex is from Mars or something because they suck. And we hate them. No, only kidding. I'm actually not kidding. Cortex is for nerds. For nerds. Alrighty. Big T1 bombing raid. 22 minutes in the game. Is it going to be effective? Trying to take out Smiles' base here. And those bombs, they're a drop-in. Yeah, forward position definitely being hit there. That was a self-sacrifice, by the way. Still in the moment of the show. Yeah, big losses for Neza there. Those bombers, they got something done. I think they're actually trying to gun for this anti-nuke. At least it was hit pretty hard for it to be just an accident. Although I don't see any nukes on the field right now. Maybe it is just a plan for later. Yeah, almost grabbing that anti-nuke. Not quite. Even if they didn't end up grabbing the anti-nuke. Again, they couldn't have capitalized upon it. But you love to see he had to do something, right? And it definitely it put some production out of business. It killed some fighters. It gave you some scouting. You know what's around here, what's being built. And yeah, I thought it was good. I love to see some bombing raids, though. It's always interesting to see. Makes you a little excited for the future. How much will strat bombers evolve in 2030, 2035, 2040? Again, what's the canonical date for Beyond All Reason, right? There probably is none. Some TAC missiles over here for Skag. 2 kills on one, 0 kills on the other. Probably haven't been up long, or they're just they're not doing their job. But attack missiles are great. You can't stop them. You can only run away or eliminate them. So again, just like that T2 artillery, they're really, really great at poking your enemy and making them, you know, come to you instead of trying to assault their stack defenses yourself. Or they can just wait it out and lose their stack defenses. Some gremlins over here for underscore, but they're not going to be able to get through. Just a line of incisors that are going to be able to spot them immediately. And hopefully, 24 minutes in, people are building anti-cloak detectors, although you really, really never see those getting built. Sometimes in the main base, but almost never on the front line, which is a little bit unfortunate. The amount of games that have come down to a lucky spy bot and an anti-nuke, too many to count. Too many to count. Actually, there aren't that many that I've seen, but enough, right? Enough where I'd be building some. Pulsar coming up here, and actually really, really great Pulsar up here. Only 4 kills, but I think it has just been built. Targeting this Quaker, although it looks like it did just get into radar range, so it does miss there. Just a tad. He's doing his best, okay? He needs some glasses, some corrective vision. Nothing big. Ooh, is that a nuke right there? Ooh, no bueno. For Ice on Skate's position on the forward here. Yeah, it does get nuked there. Not great anti-nuke coverage, but it is coming up for Skag there. It's just not quite online yet. We'll forgive them this time. Tying down here for Little Worm. That means T3 is out on the field. 25 minutes in. You'd love to see it. T3 units. Not as cool as T2 units. IMO. But very fantastic in their own right. This Pulsar position, after getting 8 kills, looks like it is being shut down by Victor here. And honestly, the amount of counterplay that Victor has against such a great player, I think is really fantastic. Of course, it is like at least a 2v1 over here. So it's not as impressive as it could be. But I think, you know, every player down there, they're giving it their all. Same thing for the middle here. This Titan is definitely making things difficult for essential players here. And Mr. Smiles has been redirected from the south to the middle for quite some time, trying to deal with a Little Worm who is from the land of nowhere, from the land of none. Doing quite well for themselves. Juno just nukes those ticks there. Fighter's going to be coming over here, trying to just ward off what they might think maybe was another bombing raid or something. Yeah, fighters from both sides, kind of angling at each other. I do believe Neza might win that fight. It's not looking too good for our boy Control Map, though. Of course, Neza is a much higher TS score. It would make sense if they could outproduce, you know, their opponent there, who was, you know, half their TS. But you know what? I always root for the underdog, baby. Speaking of the underdog, I did not calculate the average TS beforehand, so you guys will see it on screen, but I'm not entirely sure what it is, but I think it's pretty even. These games tend to be. Some scouts back here from Arcs. Oh no, absolutely getting lasered by a Titan there. Not quite sticking around long enough to do any big damage, but imagine if they got to this construction turret line and set off a chain reaction. That'd be cool. Although the construction turrets, they're vicious, man. They would actually reclaim those scouts. You'd have to have a little bit more than one to be able to do something like that. Smiles Commander posturing on the front line, maybe for a cloaked D-gun shot on some Titans there, but is also reconsidering it. Yeah, the Shivas, they're good, but they're not quite as good as those Titans, of course. Not quite as expensive, so it does make sense, although with the way these devs like to buff Cortex, you never know. I'm only kidding. Or am I? There you go. Schrodinger's joke. I'm only kidding if you're offended, right? No. Alright, so Titans over here from Little Worm. Again, he's just taking control of this central part of the map here. I think he's doing a great job. Chisato kind of becoming more of a backline player now. They definitely pulled their weight in that early game, but I think they kind of did transition away to something more, you know, laid back. So Starlight's coming out here. Again, a unit that likes to stay back, get some good value, and then head back out. Pretty mobile for a kind of artillery unit, right? Long range unit, we'll say. You know, but they do a lot of damage. They're quite good. They're basically a mobile stack defense. It's like you put a laser tower on some tank treads and rolled them out on the battlefield. That's basically what they are. Basically? Why did I say it like that? Weird accent coming out. It's from my ancestors. Don't worry about it. So Neza's fighters, yeah, again, just trying to posture. They do have a lot of bombers sitting in the back here. Still T1 bombers, 28 minutes in. You kind of think they'd start producing something else. But again, because they're Cortex Air, they're not going to have access to something like, you know, Armada atomic bombers. And I'm actually kind of surprised that they didn't kind of bomb a you know, an Armada aircraft constructor off somebody else on their team, at least pay for it or something like that, because I don't know, that's what I would do. Those atomic bombers are really, really good. Ooh, I'm sorry. You get them in once and they pay for themselves the rest of the game, right? Twice I killed this and twice we let them rebuild it. Pulsar up here with another 8 kills. The first time it only got 8 kills. Let's see if it gets destroyed after another 8. It's doing quite well, absolutely demolishing some welders. Does get up to 9 kills there, so it's doing better than its predecessor. What can we say? Pulsar up to Mark II maybe. But yeah, 3 times the charm. The Pulsar does go down again, and Underscore is definitely harassed over on this flank. Gizato actually sending his Starlights over to this flank, so that means he's fighting against both Arcs and Tom K and Gizato. So it's rough out here. It's rough out here for sure. The Starlight's going to be just demolishing this base. Fantastic counter to stack defense, and they just do damage so quick. Fantastic unit there. But of course the Tigers from Tom K helping out as well. You got to have some muscle on the field to back up those Starlights. Razorbacks out here as well for Little Worm, getting quite beaten up there. The Shivas definitely like chomping on Razorbacks more than Titan, but they'll do the job. Siege Mechs, you would expect it, right? Skag still holding his position out here, making some catapults, absolutely laying waste to this northern no man's land. I think they are just on auto attack, yeah. That turret's long dead, but they don't know it. Bulwarks out here doing their job. Not quite as good as Pulsars, but again, they get the job done. We like Bulwarks all the same. Yeah, pushing those Titans away, and the Shiva is able to hit at them from long range. Thors from Crocs coming onto the field here. Thors are fantastic. I'm actually not sure who wins 1v1, Titan or Thor. I believe it's probably a Titan, but again, these Titans are at half health, and Thors excel at doing group damage as well, so that's something you have to be careful at, or, you know, watchful for as well. Thors like hitting multiple targets, more than one. They do have that lightning chain effect there, but yeah, Thor kind of getting triple team there. 2 Razorbacks and a Titan, putting some work in, but Razorback does go down there. Titan almost down as well, and a Little Worm kind of on the retreat, although that Titan is healed up there. The middle's starting to finally heat up. So is the south here. Big push, or actually counter push, it looks like, against these Starlights with mass pawns from Underscore. If those get some Starlight kills, they are going to be some of the most effective pawns in the history of the world. And they do, well, not quite. The bombers steal the show maybe a little bit. The EMP bombers that do stall those Starlights, but the pawns getting good damage in. Titans over here for Greco. We haven't really seen him on the field. He was ecoing in the back line, and boy, what a good job did he do. Oh no. More bombers out here for Nava in the yellow. He's got those T2 fighters out as well, but so does Control Map. The Battle of the Fighters escorting those bombers. Oh no, all the way to Ice on Skates over here. Gonna be taking down that Aphis, most likely. Strat bombers love to be hitting those, oh yeah, juicy targets. They do go down, take out all the bombers as well, but definitely worth it. That's Ice on Skates basically out of the game. They have a couple T2 mexes here and a couple welders. Not looking too hot for them. It's an 8v7 right now, and the 8 players are on the Worm team side. Not looking too hot for our cool colored players, not at all. In terms of economy, they are actually still up. I think that's mostly to Greco, who is at 600 metal here. Definitely pulling their weight. If we do look at the stats page, which I definitely need to use more, metal produced is 1.2 for the cool colored side, 1.17 for the Worm. So it's pretty even. Not too much metal lost there on either side, but I imagine it's going to start tipping in favor of the Worm colored team, especially with, you know, Ice on Skates gone, right? Razorback here, absolutely massively healed by 66 res bots. Those guys can all get taken out by one straight hit from a Shiva though, or really any unit. And yeah, Titans are getting busted out on front, but with this mobile repair station, they're able to put in work. Yeah, absolutely. These guys are doing great. 77 now. Nothing to laugh at. Yeah, continual pushes against Smiles here, definitely hurting him. He doesn't really have the repair power that Little Worm does. And I've actually never seen this guy, or, you know, this person play, but they are doing quite well for themselves. Really making a name. This is why my frames are dropping, guys. Normally, this computer's been holding up well, but so many pawns on the field right now. How many pawns? Casual 400, and that number's only going up. How many, we only have 2 labs. Okay. Well, maybe my computer is weak. Although we do have 4 for Underscore, although they're not producing anything. We'll say they are, right? They just stopped. They just stopped. So, almost 500 pawns there. right now on the screen. 3,500 units in total. This is just how crazy Beyond the Region can get, right? And this is just, it's not, maybe it's not an average game, but, you know, it happens. It's not a once-in-a-lifetime thing. So I do love to see these big, juicy games that we're getting into later on in the middle of the year. In terms of the middle, it is, again, not looking good for the cool colored side. Ice on Skates wasn't contributing too much, but they're definitely contributing, right? There's a reason they were taken out. So it's basically all on Smiles now to try to defend this position, and they're even just struggling taking out these ticks. They don't have a lot of rapid fire units, and Shivas love to do damage to themselves. So if those ticks get close, they actually just start blowing up their own health bar. Quite unfortunate. Oh my gosh, tons of catapults out here for Skag. You know what? For all the hate that I give Cortex, it is deserved, but catapults, fantastic unit. You love to see them. They're very Star Wars-esque. Does anybody remember from the prequels, I guess? Like those catapult type units that were on wheels? That's what they remind me of. Every time I see them, I'm like, oh yeah. I actually mostly remember them from a Lego Star Wars game, so how about that? First behemoth out here for Mr. Smiles, and these were the behemoths that we were talking about. And that's right, more than one is going to be out here at a time, dishing out damage. They are, of course, barely mobile, but they'll get there eventually. 17 speed, but oh, they make it up with the damage that they do, right? And also the damage they can take. One of the beefiest health bars in the game. 320,000, I'm sorry, health right now, and it's not even at full, down to 96% there. So extremely beefy unit. I mean, actually just insane. To, you know, for reference, you know, pawns have what, like a little bit more than 100? Oh, 335, okay. I know what math, guys. Ooh, imagine if I left the DPS counter on. We saw the behemoth just go at it. Yeah, they are going to be just sitting back right now, kind of just creating a no man's land right here. The behemoths, they need to be well supported on their push. They're kind of like a juggernaut in that sense. Juggernauts are a little bit more self-sufficient, but those behemoths actually, you can't let them take a bunch of damage because it takes them forever to get to that front line. So even if they're only getting hit a little bit, that adds up a long time when they walk about a foot every business day. More catapults out from Skag, this time supporting the middle instead of the north. They did kind of clear up the north there. So yeah, they decided to redirect some. I think it's a good play. Uh-oh. They thought they cleared it up until the nuke from the warm colored team did kind of bust their bunker a little bit. Catapults going down, bulwarks teetering on the edge. Of course, construction turrets on that experimental gantry blown up as well. And suddenly, the north isn't so secured for Skag anymore. Not a ton to capitalize upon it. A lot of pawns. Only a couple titans, though. But more importantly, it does redirect units away for Caldra and Skag, which means the middle is also, you know, more in danger of being destroyed there. Although, again, in terms of the middle, there's not a lot of beefy units that can just walk straight up there. Skag is keeping those catapults lined up in the center here, absolutely destroying this Titan, hoping that he has enough units in combination with the Caldra to ward off this attack. The bulwarks trying to do their job. They do get attack nuked there. Again, not looking too good in the north up here, and you really can't let those pawns get out because Aphises go down surprisingly quickly to pawns. Another nuke there. Mr. President, a second nuke has hit the northern side of the map. And again, the cool colored team looking absolutely atrocious out here. They have one player down. The north side is crumbling. Catapults are in full retreat. Commanders just sitting out on the front line, getting absolutely wrecked by those Titans there. Only 2 commanders left for the cool colored side. 37 minutes in the game. Oh no. Behemoths are coming up for Smiles, but it's not like you can just redirect a behemoth over to the north side. Like the walk from here to over here might take about 5 minutes, right? It's not something that you can do quite quickly, but that behemoth looks like it is going to be redirected, if only slightly. Catapults, or no, I'm sorry, Shiva is now basically in melee here. Again, not looking good. A couple of Titans, though, for Smiles, trying to redirect the forces up here away from this base, which is very important, you know, to securing this line. They got it. In order for the cool team to win, they got to bottle this up right back to where it was at this choke point, right? You can't deal with, you know, both pink players just coming out of here at all angles. It's no bueno, in short. No man's land is kind of maintained in the center here, at least. the one saving grace for the Kukula team, if they have any. But it looks like this is finally being bottled up. But most importantly, more than the Shivas, the Thors are out, which excel at destroying pawns. 232 kills on this Thor right here. I'm sure most of those are pawns, seeing as it doesn't even have a veterancy level from all those kills. But I mean, what can you say? Quite impressive. The South here has been pretty quiet for the most part, just building up pawns. They wanted to blow up my computer. What can I say? We're down to 4 FPS, folks. This is like the old days. 700 pawns on the field for both sides. Oh, I'm sure, you know, another couple hundred will produce since I press Control Z. Oh, man. It is a slog fest out here. This is why this is one of the best games. Well, Beyond All Reasons is one of the best games, but this is a fantastic replay here. A bunch of construction turrets accidentally getting shot out there. 4 smiles at gantry, basically going down for all intents and purposes until construction turrets are back up there. Yeah, I think that this Overseer didn't quite get up in time. Yeah, it looks like it is failing. Quite a few long-range artillery cannons down here for the warm-colored team. I can see at least one, although I know there's a couple more than that. And yeah, again, the LOL cannons. But this is what I was talking about. We get to see some bigger LOL cannon action. Oops, sorry. A little bit later on. More than just a Basilica or a Basilisk. We get the full rotating auto cannon. Which you probably... I think I'm making it the thumbnail. Let's be real, I took so many thumbnail screenshots. This game just had so much going on. It's beautiful. Speaking of beautiful, look at Little Worm just putting all these Basilicas right on the front line. They're not even given elevation, man. Their sight line is terrible, but you know what? They're actually, they're crushing it right now. So, looks like we do have, oh no, 24. It's like, holy cow, that's pulsars. 11 Basilicas out here for the warm-colored team here. 28 kills, 34. Starting to hit some pawns now. But they want those big targets. But unfortunately, oops, sorry. Again, this guy who keeps hitting my mic. Unfortunately, these energy shields are up for the meantime. They can kind of contain those slower firing long-range artillery for now. But we'll see. We'll see if they manage to hold up when the big guys are out there. Oh man, the behemoths making their slow trek nowhere really. Actually, they've kind of found their position where they want to be. But you know, they go in, guys. I promise. I love to see it. You know, you don't get to see... Behemoths are kind of a rare unit in general. Because, honestly, I don't think they're that good. Just because they're so slow. No matter... They basically have a D-gun, right? But they're just not... They're so slow. They're such big targets. They don't have great anti-swarm, even though you think they do. Like, they have pretty good AoE, but they can definitely still get swarm. They don't have good range. A lot of combinations make them not the best unit in the world. No AA... for one, but still they managed to find their place in this game, and I'm still happy that they're a unit. They warm my heart a little bit every time I see their ugly bodies. They aren't, I don't know, they have a certain cuteness, you know. There we go, Behemoth torching these Titans here, finally getting in the action, right? The little laser up top, a little more than just a guidance laser to absolutely take down these Titans here. And yeah, I mean, the Titans don't even... They have like, what, 100,000 health? A little bit more than that. When they're full health there. Don't even come close to the Behemoth's health pool there. Titans absolutely get wrecked by Behemoths. Although this is mostly on Little Worm for not getting them out of there. No reason to let them stay. Although I am sure Little Worm probably has bigger things to worry about. All these Basilicas for one. Up to 61 kills there. Very nice. It's slowly climbing up. And Basilicas, they're pretty cheap to fire. Takes a lot of energy, but you can definitely build up your energy stores and production fast enough to be producing them. There are no Ragnarok or anything like that. And they just have a ton there. It's insane how many they have. Thankfully, they're not built on high ground, so any players in the back line here are pretty protected by mountains and other structures. Other teammates, mostly. Oh my gosh, and look at the, the grunt wars here. We do have Smiles and our player in white here, Praetor, going at it along with some pawns from Little Worm. Oh man, look, this is not a fight that you'd expect to happen 42 minutes into the game, and yet it is what we get. We are privileged, the privileged few. Yeah, actually insane. Oh, Nuke detonating again on the north side there. Horse Gag just can't catch a break. You think they build anti-nuke by now? I imagine it's probably getting destroyed or something. Or maybe they do just have better things to worry about. Well, the nukes are always very scary. Cargonests, catapults, and Titans up there in the north side for Skag there. A scary army for sure. It is reduced to basically half health after that nuke. Nukes don't do great single target damage, but you know, they still do damage. Also, Ice on Skates is back, baby. Already has an Aphis. How long ago were they taken out? They're doing well for themselves. No production yet, but they're gonna get there soon. Don't you worry about it. And the Behemoths starting their slow crawl towards Praetor's position on the mid. In the mid. Oh yeah, those Behemoths racking up big damage there against some grunts, but they will be coming in contact with Bulwarks and Basilicas and Pulsars shortly. And yeah, I mean, you can see how much damage they're taking from Bulwarks, from Pulsars, Basilicas. I think even we're shooting at them for a little bit there. Attack missiles are launching too, but nothing stops the Behemoths. Trying to micro them just a little bit there is always funny. They take 2 business days to turn around. Yeah, those attack missiles, they still hit hard though. It's Behemoth, 152 kills, 91 and 118. Taking out those Bulwarks. Attack missiles almost going down as well. Praetor looks like they wanted to go for that D-gun there. They were spotted out there. And there they go. Basilicas are all down now on the front line. Still a ton in the back though. Don't you worry your head about it. Bulwarks going down as well. And this is basically the end for Praetor's position on the front line there. Of course, they still have everything in the back. Where's our LOLCANN? The budget LOLCANNON. Yeah, we all know what they meant. Yeah, well, the cool color team not producing theirs. The warm color team gonna be going for this Ragnarok right here, though. A rapid fire, long range artillery or plasma cannon. My bad. That thing absolutely puts out numbers. That thing is crazy. Excited to see that thing spool up. I think it's got what, a minute left? Yeah, 71% here, 50% left to build. Yeah, I mean, 63,000 metal, 752,000 energy. That thing is expensive to build. So you can see why it's only coming up now. 43 minutes into the game. Chizao's commander looks like they wanted to do what Praetor wanted to do. Going for that D-gun, but again, doesn't get it. The Behemoths are too good, and I'm wondering, do they have some kind of is that little laser like an anti-cloaking thing? I wonder if that's what's going on there. Because it doesn't look like they have any anti-cloaking measures there, unless maybe the radar sonar planes up ahead were giving some kind of vision. They definitely weren't close enough for that thing to become uncloaked. So if anybody knows, let me know. I always have new things to learn. Also, so many Titans down here. 14 Titans for Greco Bradco in the purple. Absolutely massacring this front line on the south here. In the south. Starlights going down. Banishers going down. Tons of T1 units also being fed into the churner. Lasers galore. It is a beautiful fight, ladies and gentlemen. It might be a little bit framey, but I have a, oh man, I have the 4080, and she's struggling. You know, she's pulling her weight, but it's getting pretty bad here in the late game. We're down to 7 FPS, almost half game speed. But we are coming up on the end of the game here. The LOLCANNON just come online, and we're gonna see where it's targeting, right? So why are we not making LOLCANNON? Yep, that's what everybody's wondering. It is targeting those Titans there, and you're gonna see why. Oh, little worm getting a lot of damage in there before he goes down. Why sightlines are important. Looks like Chizado targeting his own structures here, not able to hit these Titans right behind the ridge, and map design, folks. Always got to keep in mind what map you're on. Those LOLCANNON shots, thousands, hundreds of thousands worth of energy just being blasted into rock. Now they are, you know, finally getting hit there. But while that LOLCANNON is up, we are going to be seeing the last plays from the cool color team. Those Titans making their way downtown, eviscerating Tom K's base. Man, Tom K, he's had a rough go this game. They did really well. But yeah, that's basically going to be the end for them over there. We are seeing Yellow's Air Force being redirected over here, trying to get some Wasp gunships in, anything to stop the Titan march. Even the Ragnarok isn't enough. And so you can kind of see why Chisato turned the cannon. Now, if it was me, I would have started blasting away, right? But of course, even with the shields there, the LOL cannon takes a little bit of time to start getting damage in. Big bombing run from Neza over here. Finally seeing those T2 bombers. No more of those, you know, Stormbringer, Whirlwind, crappers. Got the big strap bombers over here today. Going to be bombing the crap out of Cyan's base. Skag. You know what? They put up a grand fight this game. Much like Tom K, though, it might just be the end for them. Oh, no. Here we go. But this is an important thing that Nez is doing, as well as bombing somebody. He's letting the Cool Color team know this is where his Air Force is. So we do have Green over here, Smiles, and Greco coming in to absolutely eviscerate that Air Force, but not before Skag's base is blown up. His backline base this time, not the one that was continually nuked. Pink's Air Force going in as well, a little bit too late there. Nothing left of Nez's Air Force, absolutely eviscerated. 6,400 units on the field right now. You can see why the frames are so bad, okay? And yeah, okay, so Pink's Air Force there, gonna be demolished. But Purple's Air Force is so big, so big. And what is this Air Force going for? Well, after the LOL cannon, this is basically their last plays, right? Once that LOL cannon starts shooting at the economy, it's going to be over. So how do you take out a LOL cannon? Well, you can always destroy it with bombs, or you can hit the economy that the LOL cannon requires. So they need, of course, hundreds of thousands of energy to fire, at the very least tens of thousands of spare energy to fire. So those Avises are going to be a prime target. These plasma shields do not deflect bombs. There's very, very little Air Force left to take out these bombers. Metal converters going down, or energy converters going down. But more importantly, the Avises for Chisato that supply the LOL cannon with the bombs, or with the energy to make the bombs, going to be going down here as well. As the strap bombers come in, those glorious red bombs absolutely torching the ground. Oh no, there you go. The frames, they're coming back. I can feel them coming back. 10 frames now. And that is going to be Chisato leaving the game. And you know what? I give Chisato a lot of crap for their behavior in other games, but they stuck this one out. So props to everybody on the warm color team and the cool color team. I think everybody fought well and to the best of their ability. But that's going to be just about it for this game. And what a game. So let me know, do you agree? Is this the best game you've seen all year? Probably not. There have been a lot of good games this year, but this is one of my favorites, and hopefully now one of yours as well. Okay, so gonna be waiting for the stat screen to come out there a little bit. Dark Clone, the last one to leave, like Kazakhstan and the USSR, right? I don't know when actually they're gonna leave. I think it takes them a couple seconds here, but we can look at this stat screen. In terms of metal produced, look at, okay, well, looks Smiles doesn't agree with me. The metal produced quite even. 0.2 metal difference there, and there we go. That is the big bomb, which is when the last person leaves. So let's look at the stat screen real quick, and then I'll let you go. Then class will be dismissed. But before you go, I know not everybody likes to read the stats, so if you have made it this far in the video and you did enjoy, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a lot, and yeah, I think it's really nice of you if you would do that. So let's look at the awards here. Rico going to be destroying the most enemy resource production. Of course, that big explosion at the end there. No, you know, it makes sense. Neza, second place there with that destruction of Skag. And also they get some good bombing runs right in the middle there with those T1 as well. And underscore there, going to be third place. Chisato destroys the most enemy units. Fantastic for Chisato. Little Worm has the most efficient use of resources. And it's also a runner-up, you know, probably for all the stuff that they did mid. They did very, very well. And Skag is a traitor. How could he? All right, or how could they? So, team stats, don't look at that stuff. Confusing. Colors, nice. Lines. So, metal produced. Going for Greco. Honestly, the star of the show here, I've never seen them play before, and they did such a good job. They were just miles above everybody else. Pretty close to Chisato. But Chisato had a much slower start because they were front line, right? Greco was back line from the second they dropped in. And also, Smiles there, putting in the weight as well. And you can see underscore, the best player in the lobby and for the Cool Color team, doesn't really have that much resource production because they're so focused on that front line. So again, if you know the game's going to go long, your best player should probably be in the back. But, you know, Grieco did carry it for that Cool Color team. So fantastic job to everybody. Hope you all did enjoy, and I'll see you all later. Adios.